We only do this because Facebook be trying to sue people, taking down our shows.
Right, we don't need any of that.
We don't need none of that. So this is our new intro, y'all. New intro. Sound dramatic, don't it?
Right, the build-up is serious.
Y'all got quiet?
Music can make you listen.
Enters your soul whether you want it to or not.
It's also a single coming soon.
Oh, that ain't coming soon. That's the
Don't
techniques
call me
and
a
bite thing.
pessimist. Yeah, we all fall down on the best of this. Let me tell you a story or reminisce by the day when the great took over the bliss.
Go ahead, lady. You know what to do.
Was a lonely one.
Fade us out, Self-Born. Fade us out. We just giving y'all a preview. We can't give y'all the whole thing.
Right.
Let's go ahead and get this started. Go ahead, Toya.
Absolutely. So that's Mike.
That's Toya.
And this is Tech Beats and Bytes.
Yeah, welcome to the show. We appreciate you guys. So right about now, we about to get into it. First of all, let's go ahead and get this out the way. Shout out to our sponsors and the people that are all involved. Digital Grass, World Famous House of Mac, Knight Foundation. And we about to have a show, a little bit of a show. So they got this little team down here that plays at the American Airlines Arena. Some of us know them as the Greats. Others know them as Miami Heat. Let's give a round of applause for the gentleman from Miami Heat. Round of applause, round of applause. So we got Josh and Said here. So, gentlemen, why don't you introduce yourself real quick? Tell us a little bit about what you do with the Miami Heat.
All right, well, my name is Cedric Brown. I've been with the Heat for the last 5.5, closing on 6 years.
And don't worry about me. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. Talking to the mic.
Talking to the mic? Okay.
Act like you're a rapper. Make love to it. Look straight ahead. Talk to the mic.
I am our interactive marketing content manager. So basically what I do is I'm responsible for just about every piece of social media that comes out of the Miami Heat. On Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, you name it. That's my responsibility. I do it for the Miami Heat, our retail Miami Heat store, our mascot, Bernie, anybody with a social media account affiliated with the Heat. I am responsible for their content.
That's a big job.
All right.
It is. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Cheers to you, my man. They are close. You just got to turn the mic up. He's right on the mic.
Closer?
We got it. We'll get you. Yeah, gentlemen, you got to talk into the mic. You almost want your lips on the mic, not too,
Not
Gotcha.
too close, but close.
All right. Go ahead, say it.
Let it
Josh, excuse me. My bad.
I'm Josh Goshen, Director of Game Presentation and Events for the Miami Heat. And I joined in 2006 after we won the first championship. Started on an interactive team called the Hoop Troop. Started making my way tossing T-shirts around the American Airlines Arena and interacting with fans. And now, 11 years later, I am calling all the shots and scripting the games and directing the entertainment, everything that happens during a timeout, be it videos or performances on the court, halftimes, pregame, all that kind of stuff. Also run and coordinate all off-site Heat marketing events. Something like our back-to-school event this morning, I was a part of that, helped run a pep rally. So it's a lot of stuff like that. It's a labor of love, and it's basically my dream job growing up here, living here my entire life.
Okay, so you're a Miami native.
That's correct.
Nice. Okay. So tell me what you love most about working with the Heat. Either one, whoever wants to take it first.
I love the sense of family that we have. We call it culture here, as you can see on Josh's T-shirt. Everybody looks out for everybody, and like you really feel like you're a part of the family when you work for the Miami Heat. I am not from here, from Miami. I moved here from Cincinnati, Ohio, where I was born and raised, and I came here. I didn't know a soul. Like, I literally did not know anyone. And now I feel like I have, 400 to 500 very close relatives. So, on top of everything, just being fun, and I'm working in basketball, which is a sport I've always loved. I've always had a passion for basketball. It's just that, I'm here, and I'm growing. And like I say, I've met some of the most amazing people that I will ever encounter. And that's all thanks to the Miami Heat.
I think
Nice.
Cedric said it best. It's the culture. It's definitely the family, the loyalty, the structure. And for me, like I said, it's my dream job. I've been a Heat fan all my life. And so getting the opportunity to now be on the front lines and behind the scenes for my favorite basketball team is just a dream job. Couldn't think of anything better.
So I ain't gonna let y'all just skate through this statement about the loyalty of these fans. I'm just saying, I've been to a couple of Heat games before LeBron came here, and you could show up by the second quarter, it was still pretty much empty. And you could show up by the third quarter and everybody was leaving. So what is the worst and the best thing about the Miami fans? Because there is a sense of loyalty when we're winning, but you don't seem to have that same obsession that you do in other cities. So what is the best and the worst thing about the Miami Heat fans?
You know, I'm very hesitant to use the term worst because, you know, what our fans are knocked for the most is that, you know, they're late arriving and, you know.
How about the least desirable aspect of a Miami Heat fan?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they're late arriving and, you know, they show up second quarter, like you said, or, you know, when we lose a few games, they may hop off the bandwagon. But I tell you one thing, as a part of my job, I travel to every single game we play, all 82 games. So I see every building, I see every other team, and I can say this proudly that we have, you know, one of the best home court advantages in the NBA.
Okay. Okay.
You take a look at, you know, you go to, I don't want to call any team specifically, but you go to some teams on a Tuesday night and they aren't playing so well, and we come in and, you know, right now we don't have that all-star household name player. And so, you know, you go to these cities and, you know, the arena's less than half full. You know, so our fans they catch a lot of slack for that, but I will say that we do have some of the best in the NBA compared to, you know, others that I've seen with my own eyes. They say late arriving, that's just a Miami thing. It is what it is, but they are there. They do support us. They, you know, they buy the retail, the merchandise. They get loud. They get very loud on social media. We have some of the rowdiest Twitter and Instagram followers I've ever seen. That they let us know when they're not happy, and they let us know when they are happy. So
Twitter fingers fingers in the Heat.
Yeah, but we got them. I get it all. So
Nice. So as the hype man, right, for the games, you're coordinating what to get the crowd moving, and what sort of strategy have you found that works best for getting the fans engaged? Since we were just sort of talking about the ebbs and flows of people attending games.
Well, we think of ourselves in the marketing and the game operations department as is to just take the fans over the top. So we let the basketball team do most of the work, and then when they go on a sick run and the other team calls timeout, the building erupts, and that's our time to have fun. That's our time to entertain. And then when the timeout's over, we got to bring the energy right back so that the run can continue, and the basketball team just takes it from there. We really are just putting the icing on the cake and getting everybody over the edge.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to assume we must have some of the best liquor sales in the NBA, though. Have you guys ever looked into the marketing of the liquor sales?
I tell you what, that's not my department, but if you venture up into some of the upper levels
them
late
suites
in the
are
game,
crazy,
you'll experience some fans who have been there throughout the night having fun. So.
We have rowdy fans.
Yes.
They're very passionate.
So do you guys know right now who currently has the largest following for fans in the NBA? I know you guys are at about 4.2 million. Do you know where you fall in the list of followings? And I think that was your Instagram that's at 4.2 million.
Yes. Right now, everybody's chasing the Lakers. They are. I don't know their specific numbers, but they are number one in the NBA. Actually, they're number one in North America for professional sports franchise.
Really?
So that's
Oh, wow.
baseball, basketball, football. They're number one team right now. After them, it's the Bulls, then the Warriors, and then us. So
Shout out for self-born in the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
So we just going to give our DJ that.
Bulls from Chicago in case anybody.
But, you know, not to make excuses, but those are teams that have very rich histories.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we've been around since 1988. We've got 3 championships to our name. And, you know, the Lakers who have, there he is, 15, there you said?
Yeah.
The Bulls, 6, and Michael Jordan. And so the Warriors are on their hot streak now. So, I mean, you know, we're up there with some very talented organizations, that's for sure.
Go ahead,
No,
Tori.
sure. So, talking about being in the sports industry, what are some of the challenges that you face navigating the corporate structure and just trying to get a handle on how to work within the sports industry? Because every industry is different and every industry has its challenges. But what are some of the ones that you've encountered?
Well, I think, like you said, at the end of the day, this is kind of like it's sports and it's entertainment, but there's also this corporate aspect to it that we have to adhere to, and corporate sponsors are a huge part of what we do. We try to make sure that they're taken care of and they receive the exposure and the activation and promotion that they're looking for. So that's one of the biggest challenges, is balancing that sports and fun and corporate at the same time. And keeping everything entertaining for everybody involved, be it the sponsor, the fans, players, all that.
So we have a large crowd that watches our show on streaming content. And one of the biggest things is we like to educate people. We like to give them a little bit of knowledge. So between the two of you, especially with the social aspect and the engagement, what would you say would be like maybe 2 to 3 of your trade secrets or most valuable information, your MVIs, most valuable information that you can give to somebody that can maybe transfer to their personal brands or their startup businesses that you've executed with the Miami Heat?
Okay. I'll give you one. I share this with a lot of people who had similar questions as I meet them, and it sounds super easy, but listen to your audience. That's number one. A lot of people, a lot of teams, a lot of organizations, they post things that they feel is right. We have to realize that it's not about you. We post things on Instagram all the time, and they have hundreds and hundreds of comments. And yes, I do look through those comments because, those are our most vocal fans. Those are the fans who are engaging with, what we're putting out there. And I want to know what they like and what they don't like. And I want to give them more of what they like and less than what they don't like. So that's a key. Like, just keep an ear to the streets, an ear to, those comments, that feedback, and actually take it for what it's worth. Because, social media is a very public forum. So if you can see it, everyone else can see it.
Right.
So you don't want that, to reflect on your brand or, yourself or other people are saying about you. So if you can keep that under control and there's things that you can do to, push the needle one way or the other, definitely do that.
What you think about that, Josh?
I think he said it. He nailed it 100%. You just gotta make sure that when you're representing yourself, and social media has a lot of pitfalls. And like you said, everybody can see what you're posting. Everything on social media is written in pen. It's not pencil. It's not going away. Even though you may have deleted it, somebody may have taken a screenshot. Somebody may have sent it to someone else. You never know what's going on. So just taking integrity and pride into your own brand is probably the most important thing.
So we're going to take a little piece of what you just said and we're going to try to implement it right here today. So this is what we're going to do. Whoever takes a picture or makes a post quoting something from the show, and you use hashtag TBB, because some of y'all are going to spell tech beats and bytes wrong, so we're going to shorten it down. Hashtag TBB. Whoever gets the most comments, likes, or reposts will be buying you dinner and drinks tonight when the show's over.
Oh, yes.
All right? So that's, again, hashtag TBB. All you got to do is post a quote on Twitter, take a picture, and post it on Facebook or Instagram. Whoever gets the most interactions will be buying you dinner and drinks tonight at the end of the show.
And that's super easy. Who wouldn't take care of that? Who wouldn't want to take advantage of that?
I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of people still looking like I ain't going to win, so I ain't going to do it.
Right, but you don't know until you try it, right?
Exactly.
You got to give it a shot.
And the Heat just taught us that we're not paying them for the free consultant on this stage. You are not liable for anything to help him. But we appreciate you guys. So, amidst everything you're doing, how much does the NBA actually, I guess, the rules that they place on you guys of how far you can go into things, how involved, because, I mean, there had to be a transition, not just for the culture of sports, but in general, marketing taking on social media was a whole different stream for some people. So how did the NBA respond to it, and what kind of rules and regulations has the NBA actually placed on you guys with your work?
I got to give the NBA a lot of credit because they are very, very free and loose with what we do on social and our digital platforms to promote our teams. Unlike other organizations like Major League Baseball, they actually regulate each team's social media platform. But with us, the NBA, they're very free-flowing, so we just kind of follow their lead. One thing they don't want us doing is actually pretty funny. So I can tell you the name of everyone for every team who does my job. Like we're just a group of people, and we get along well, and we engage, on our respective platforms. So you may see the Miami Heat tweeting at the Memphis Grizzlies, but it's actually myself tweeting at my counterpart at the Grizzlies.
Right.
Okay.
And so
Strategic
last
beef.
year we had a few things that kind of escalated, like, a war of words bouncing back and forth between teams and things like that. In the NBA, they sent out a memo saying, hey, cool it. Don't shed anyone in a bad light. It wasn't us that was doing it. But other than that, they are very loose, very free-flowing, very fun. Off-season, they let us do what we need to do, and it's cool. It's cool.
Look, I mean, I done saw some Twitter beefs, and I done saw some, but Wendy's.
Wendy's is good.
Look, whoever is running the
Right.
social media for Wendy's
They go hard.
is a savage.
Yeah.
I mean, straight savage. I remember one McDonald's posted, it was like 85% of our beef is like never frozen and pure. And Wendy's was like, so what was the other 15%?
Right, call them out. Call them out.
That was the hardest thing I ever seen. Wendy's, if you need a laugh and you need a break, just go follow the official Wendy's Twitter account. That is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They just destroy Burger King and McDonald's every day.
Yeah.
Just straight destroying them.
And they probably take pride in that too. Like, ooh, one error, we did that.
It's bad. It's real
So
bad.
I think we got a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go to the DJ. Yeah.
So this question is right on time with what you guys are talking about, and it actually was referenced by one of our audience members. He referenced Meek Mill and Drake, and he wanted to know, how does the Miami Heat decide what is taking it too far when it comes to social media, just like Wendy's and who was it had the
Wendy's
spar
and
back and
McDonald's.
forth, McDonald's back and forth. So how do you control that? What's taking it too far, and do you get involved in that kind of semantics?
It kind of depends on what it is. Let me tell you that everyone at the Miami Heat works for a gentleman named Pat Riley. So our line
Facts.
is very, very, very close. Other teams can, toe that line a little bit and be a little more playful and engage in things like that, but not us. Our main goal is to win and to be a first-class organization and to reflect that throughout the NBA. So no, we're not going to be as engaging as teams like the Atlanta Hawks or the Sacramento Kings. That's just not in our nature. That's just not in our culture. And so, we're definitely one of the more laid-back teams, and that may affect us at times when it comes to having that funny tweet or someone shoots back at you. You want to shoot back, but you don't. But it is what it is, and I'd much rather prefer it that way because you look around at some of the teams I just named who are a little more playful than others, and it doesn't really reflect in the win column. Or,
Right.
they're the same teams that have problems in other areas. So that's just not us. It's just not who we are.
On the show, we like to have a lot of entrepreneurs. And within the corporate structure, there's this concept called an intrapreneur, where you're able to innovate within your position. How do you guys feel that you're able to be innovative within your position at the Heat?
Especially you, Josh. I mean, I never heard of the hoop troop and some
Right,
of the
I
things
mean,
you were
that's fun
talking
by
about.
itself.
That sounds pretty fun. So, what's some of the things you guys have come up with? That was a dope question, Toy.
Thank you.
That's when we need our sound effects. That was
Exactly.
We would have dropped
We
the
gonna
bomb
talk
on that.
about that.
Yeah,
There we
we're
go.
gonna talk
There
about
we
that.
So yeah, the innovation within the corporate structure comes within trying to come up with ideas for each sponsor, and what on-court contest or video project, video series we can come up with. I'll give you an example. Last year we had to come up with a promotion for a hotel company, Epic, and they were doing some emphasis on some fun and some beach activities and whatnot. So the idea that we came up with was to pit two of our sections in the arena, going back and forth, throwing beach balls at each other. So we just got the two sections, put a volleyball net in between the two sections, loaded them up each section with volleyballs, and had them go back and forth for 20 seconds, just throwing them just back and forth. And then at the end of the 20 seconds, whichever section had the least amount of beach balls was the winner. They all received a Heat prize. And then, to throw another twist in it, we put a gold-marked beach ball in the bunch of beach balls, and whoever ended up with that one received a prize at the Epic, a stay for I think it was 2 or 3 days.
Nice. That's
And
fun.
so that's the fun part where we get to innovate within our positions.
And let me tell you something about these sponsors. Like me and Josh, we both have awesome jobs, very cool, very fun, but we are nothing without Pepsi, Kia Motors, McDonald's, the Epic Hotel that he just named. You know, they pay our bills. They pay the rent. They pump a lot of money into our organization. So there's definitely a fine balance that we have to have with making them happy. I mean, for every cool picture of, you know, Hassan Whiteside you see, you're going to get a tweet where we have to tag FanDuel or Kia because they are, you know, sponsoring some sort of giveaway that we have to get their name out there as well. So, you know, that's where our job becomes not necessarily difficult, but a little more challenging because, you know.
So we're gonna get a little nerdy with that. That part we'll appreciate. So now we're gonna go into the real stuff, the technical stuff that might bore some people, but it excite those trying to learn. Where are you starting to pull? What kind of stats and what kind of interaction are your sponsors looking for when you start to get into your actual tweets and your, I guess you could say, your cross promotions and your product placement? Are they looking for numbers? Are they looking for shares? Are they looking for comments? What are the things that sponsors are now looking for to say working with the Heat is effective because we've seen this kind of response?
Good one.
This may seem like the easy way out, but this is the truth. Every sponsor is completely different. So whenever we have a sponsor come on board, you know, we sit down, we meet with them, and we ask, what do you want? Okay. And, you know, some followers may just want, you know, a higher follower count. Some may just want, you know, more traffic to, you know, their kiosk on the 300 level of the arena. Like every follower has every sponsor has a different goal in mind. Some just like us to promote their, you know, their community outreach, their fundraising type of situations. So we just have to adjust to that, and that's where, you know, our creativity comes in. That's where, you know, all of our other coworkers, like I say, I work in a group of 4 others. We have 5 in our social media department together, and, you know, they support me in those efforts. And so it really depends. I wish that there was like a more set answer.
No, I mean, but that still makes sense. You really have to know how to communicate with the sponsors to be able to get to that point.
Absolutely.
But what's been the craziest request where you simply had to say, no, we can't guarantee you that?
Dun, dun, dun.
I know both of y'all have at least one where y'all were just like, we can't do that, man.
Right, not at this time.
Well, in game at least, a lot of the corporate sponsorships, everybody understands that the priority is the flow of the game. And so there's a lot of times where we kind of have to go back and say, we're not going to be able to do that because
it interrupts the flow of the game.
Yeah, it interrupts the flow of the game. And that's across the board with all partners.
You being real safe now. You still haven't told me what that request. Self-Born said he wanted to know, what did you actually have to say no to?
Specifics.
You don't have to say their name. Just what was the request and what did you have to say no to? Don't try to slide out the DM. You're going to have to answer this question.
The craziest one that I can actually speak about.
We can take that. That's legit. Don't get fired because we can't pay your salary.
Yeah.
Keep your job.
I will say a couple years ago, we had a company try to come on board, and they told us that they wanted to outfit all of our players in clothing that you wouldn't see players wear.
That boy being safe as hell.
I got to get to work tomorrow.
He is thinking through
You're not paying our
every word.
salaries.
It's like 8-second
right.
pauses between each word.
I'm trying to
Let's just
Protect
say,
that job, though. Protect
I
that
forget.
job.
Yeah.
What, they wanted them to wear like some leather tights or something? I mean, Russell Westbrook dismantled everything people should be wearing in the NBA anywhere.
Man.
Whoever dressing that boy need to be fired, period.
Yeah.
Shout out to Oklahoma Thunder.
I think we need to throw a question back to Self-Born. What you talking about,
Yeah,
Self?
Self,
Man,
go ahead,
well,
Self.
I want to know, fellas, with great power comes great responsibility.
Ooh.
Perceived power is even power. So when you first got your job working for the organization of the Miami Heat, tell me what has happened that has helped you and how has it hurt you? So getting that news, and how did you use your position, and how did it help you and how did it hurt you unexpectedly? Good question.
Boy went deep.
Well, something that has stuck with me the entire time that I've been at the Heat, just one piece of advice real quick was, and this was when I was on the hoop troop and all I was doing was, tossing T-shirts and running contests around the arena, was somebody else in the organization told me, if anybody gives you a task, own it. Own it 100%. So that just means you do your job as best as you can and you go all out and you give it 100%. And so that has really stuck with me from the time where I was on the hoop troop to the time where I got my internship in the office for the first time, till I became a part-timer, till I was on the floor managing stuff throughout the game, and until the time I got the full promotion to be the director of game presentation and actually script and run and call the games, which has been a huge, difference in progress from just tossing the T-shirts and being behind the scenes. To be honest with you, before I started working on the hoop troop, I didn't even know games were scripted like that. I didn't even know that timeouts were scheduled, and it was an adjustment when I started working there.
I think a lot of people don't realize how much of a production actually goes into a game. So that's key. So fellas, you told us a lot about your job, but real quick, we need to get to know a little bit about you. So me and Toya are gonna hit you guys with some rapid fires real quick. Quick responses. Don't think about it too hard. Don't get fired because we cannot employ you. But
Right.
favorite artist, dead or alive?
Pitbull.
Wow.
Okay.
That was quick.
Oh, we both answer?
Yeah, both.
Drake.
Okay. Go ahead, Toya.
Where will you be in 10 years?
The Miami Heat.
Same. I'll still be right here in Miami. I love the
Hopefully.
city.
Y'all boys smart. They trying to
Right.
keep them jobs. Pat Rowley, they said they stand.
Yeah.
And we had some knocking on the wood. Right.
All
Go
day.
ahead, claim it. That's
All right. So we get to tap into you right now. Turn you around. Your eyes project out a movie that's describing your life or what you're going through right now. What movie would we be watching? We always get them with this one.
Exactly.
That's a tough one.
Or give me a TV
What's
show.
your gut? What's your gut?
Just go
say?
with your gut. Don't overthink it. Y'all can't
Yeah.
get fired for this. NBA ain't in films yet. So kind of they are. 30 on 30, 30.
I mean, I could say Hoop Dreams just because this is the dream job and working in hoops.
We'll take that.
That
We'll take
works.
that. That's accurate. Go ahead. Come on, say it.
TV show. I want to say the show, but I don't want to get in trouble. I'm gonna say Power. Not only just because I love that show and I'm not doing anything underground, anything dirty, but I am definitely
disclaimer.
just trying to.
We got a ghost in the NBA.
I just want to be as good of a businessman as I can be. So.
All right. That's what's up.
Love
Yeah.
it. Drink a
Toya-
choice.
Great
Yeah,
show.
there we go.
I got one last question.
Hold on, we
actually.
got
got drink a choice.
Drink a choice.
Oh, you got drink a choice.
And then we'll throw it back to you.
We'll throw it back to you. Yep.
Tequila, pineapple with a splash of Sprite.
Fireball.
Okay. Cinnamon whiskey.
All right, Lyndon, you heard that? Lyndon, we got a fireball, and yeah, he got it. Cool. No, that tequila thing.
Yeah.
Borderline.
Tequila.
Go
All
ahead,
right,
Self.
so-
Close us out.
All right, question. What have you learned about the NBA? The biggest lesson you've learned since starting your job?
Ooh, make it short.
The biggest lesson I've learned is that it is a very, very, very professional environment from top to bottom. Every team, from the league offices in New York down to the NBA G League, everybody's super professional. I've met some amazing league executives and corporate clients, and it's really forced me to grow up. So the amount of professionalism throughout the NBA is it's what I've learned.
All right.
Like I said, the biggest lesson I learned from the NBA is that the timeouts actually have a time to happen. I'm telling you, man, it was a rude awakening when I started coming in. I just thought coaches call timeouts and that's it. But no, these games are scripted. The timeouts are scripted, not the games.
Right, the in-between.
But when the breaks happen,
The games are scripted.
when
Red
the breaks
flag.
happen,
Right. People gonna be like, is
we
it
know
WWE?
when the breaks are coming. We know that there's a commercial break and things like that. That's the biggest thing that I've learned from the NBA, aside from their professionalism.
We were going to throw in a LeBron question, but we just going to let it go. We just going to let it go. So,
What you
hey,
got?
guys,
What you got?
we'll talk about it off air.
All right.
We appreciate you. Let's go ahead and get ready for part 2. But let's give a round of applause for my man Sed and Josh from the Miami Heat. Appreciate you guys coming out. All right, guys, so you know what it is. You got 2 songs, maybe 3 songs to get yourself a drink, some food from House of Mac. He can make the food that fast. Now my boy got a new oven in there. House of Mac, that stuff coming out fast. It's coming out fast. So get yourself something to eat. We'll be right back with Miss Jessie's, and that'll be Miko Branch, part 2.
Absolutely.
One time for the selfie crew, buy me a drink. Don't be selfish. Don't be too loud. But so we are back. We are back with part 2 of Tech Beats and Bytes.
Yes.
So this is a special event, special showing for all my ladies with natural hair, all the kinks, the curls, the lovely women. We did this for you. But before we get into that, let's give a shout out to the Stirrup Sisters and Cosmology.
Yes,
they got their
thank you.
booth set up. Make sure you come check out the booth.
Absolutely. We got T-shirts. We're doing photos. I mean, it's a little dark, but we'll hook you up still.
We
And
got
we
lights
definitely
up
want to
here.
talk to you about our products. We're doing some innovative things with hair tools for women with curls. Hence the beauty of this fabulous guest that we're going to talk to in a little bit.
Absolutely. And by the way, so the first lady that follows Digital Grass, Cosmology, and Latoya Stirrup, you come up and World Famous House I'm at. We're going to cut it off there.
Yeah, and Miss Jessie's.
And Miss Jessie's. First person to make a follow with all those, we got a free T-shirt for you so you can come and claim your shirt. We're going to give away a shirt. All you got to do is show us a screen with all your follows.
Mm-hmm.
And
Making
you
it
can't
real
work
easy.
for Digital Grass, so Q, no free shirts for you, no free shirts.
Right.
So, Toya, won't you introduce your guest since you brought her to the show?
Absolutely. So next to me is the phenomenal Miko Branch. She is one of the co-founders of Miss Jessie's. She's also an author. Her fantastic book is right there. And she is also a stylist. So we have a triple threat on the stage with us, hailing from New York, and she recently moved to Miami. So we're going to dive into all of that. Thank you so much for being with us, Miko.
Latoya, thank you so much for having me. And Mike, thank you so much.
Hold up. God damn it. Let's give a round of applause for Miko Branch. Don't act like y'all came out here to see me. Got friends walking up. I've been meaning to check out your show. I ain't seen y'all for 4 months, but y'all showed up today. Knowing y'all got kids that just went back to school and y'all fought through traffic. Y'all came out here for Miko. So Miko,
Yes.
I want to get right into it. Why did you move to Miami?
Well, that's a very good question. So listen, Mike, I'm a native New Yorker. I've been in New York for over 4 decades.
Ooh.
That's
Hold
right.
up. How you been? You don't even look that old to be in New York for 4 decades.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn 46
God
in
damn it,
September.
black women.
And
Just
you know what? I
beautiful.
lived
Just
the first part of my life, and the second part of my life, I decided I'm going to try something different.
Okay.
My something different wanted to bring me to somewhere that I liked, and I always knew that I like Miami. It's not too far from New York, and if I need to get back there, I can, but it's certainly different culturally, physically.
Right.
You know, the sunshine, so different than our winters in New York. But anyway, I've been here, and so far, so good.
Well, welcome to Miami. It is a direct flight home, so it's not too bad to get back home. So welcome to Miami. We appreciate you for choosing our city to continue your endeavors. But Self-Born wanted me to ask you.
At the gate.
We know what that is.
How's the industry been treating you, though? We've seen a lot of investors kind of shifting their money, moving around technology. So can you give some knowledge to the crowd, the size of the natural hair care product industry, and just kind of how has it been treating you the last couple of years?
So, you know, the beauty industry is a huge business. The natural hair segment is growing every day. You know, it's a multi-million-dollar business, probably very close to $1 billion business. And how this business has been treating us has been wonderful. You see, Mike, my sister Titi and I built our business from scratch. We didn't have angel investors. We didn't have loans. We didn't have any special contacts. But what we did have was our God-given talent, and together, through our partnership, we were able to build something out of nothing. So for us as pioneers, this is a very wonderful time for our brand, and Miss Jessie's was here from the beginning. When there were no Miss Jessie's on Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS, there was Miss Jessie's Target. There was Miss Jessie's, 2 girls in Brooklyn in our brownstone mixing product at our kitchen table, really trying to create solutions for people like Latoya and her sisters. When I met LaToya, I was so prideful, so proud, because I see women rocking their hair natural like it's fresh. And my sister and I knew very early on how wonderful it is, so to be a part of it is it's a blessing.
I don't know if y'all caught that, but she said no angel investors, no support. They did it on their damn own. So let's give a round of applause to the Branch sisters for making that happen. That's what I'm talking about. Success. Go ahead, Tori.
Exactly. And to sort of dovetail on that question, what are some of the misconceptions about the natural hair care industry?
I think the natural hair care industry, one of the misconceptions is that, you know, it's easy to get into. I think right now there's a lot of crowding, there's a lot of Me Too brands, but really in order to set up shop and do business in Target, Walmart, and Walgreens, it's not as easy as you think. Right. You know, you really have to be able to afford to really be able to do business with some of these retail partners. LaToya, it costs so much money to make curly pudding. And to make curly pudding for 7,000 stores and Sally's, that's a lot. Yeah. So when we're thinking about angel investors, people infusing, you know, cash into your businesses as a small mom and pop, it's something that you really have to consider, because in order to scale up, you need capital. Mm-hmm.
What did it kind of look like for that scale up, when you were going from mixing products in your kitchen to now being in multiple retailers? What did that look like? What were some of the challenges? Take us on the journey a little bit.
Right. So my sister and I built our business from scratch, from our kitchen table. And for us, we reinvested in our brand. We reinvested in our company. And the word that comes to mind is sacrifice. You know, in our early 20s, my sister and I, we were not at the party. And I don't know if any of you ladies understand, in order to go to the party, you got to buy your red bottoms, you got to buy your bags, you know, all those kinds of things. Vanity was second place to, you know, our desire to, succeed in business. We also were roommates. We shared the same car. We wore the same clothes. So we really conserved in so many practical areas. Right. And then we also put a premium on our services and on our product. So with that combination, we were able to make money and put money back in our business by keeping our overhead low and put a premium on our brand. Slowly but surely, we were able to build our business. So by the time Target called, we had a little extra to be able to do the things we wanted to do in order to partner with them.
So to give people a sense of the time frame, what did it look like, you know, when you first started and then once you got into Target?
So Titi and I decided to partner up in 1997 in Brooklyn.
Wow.
Right? So it took Titi and I longer. So in order to be your own boss and to be in business and not have any partnerships, any investors, it took us longer than most people. Mm-hmm. I understand most people want to get into business to make money. Titi and I had different reasons for getting into business. Mike, see, we wanted to be our own bosses, and that was more important to us than making money.
Look, man, every time she say my name, I'm sorry, baby, I'm going to apologize, but every time she say my name, I just get chills. You are so passionate about what you do. And when I hear you use the word sacrifice, I see that that's almost still transpiring in you today.
Yeah.
And that you've taken that energy to continue to grow a great brand. But it's eating at my soul. You mentioned your sister, and your sister's not here with us today. Mm-hmm. And you said you didn't do it for the money. Mm-hmm. And do you mind telling us a little bit, as Toya has dove into it, personally, I want you to unpack this because your energy is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about your sister? And I'm sorry, guys, if you're out there just talking, but this is the point where you may want to listen. Tell us a little bit about your sister and how this timeline worked out.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would love to tell you about my sister, because I would not be sitting here representing this wonderful brand, this glorious brand, without the help, the love, and the partnership from my sister Titi Branch. My sister Titi was my older sister, but we were almost like twins, like you and your sister. We were only a year and 13 months apart. So when I see you and your sister, you guys remind me of me and Titi.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was through that support. She's a family member, and people say it's really not good to go in business with family, but with my big sister, my sister always held me down. So when it came time for me to trust someone, I trusted Titi. When it came time for me to lean on somebody, Titi was always there. So those elements as a partner were so important when we were building in an area we didn't know anything about.
Wow.
Okay, so We grew up, we're from Queens. We eventually moved to Brooklyn in our early 20s. And back to Titi. Titi was probably the most dynamic, the most beautiful, the most kind, the smartest woman I've ever known. And Titi had my back. Nobody on this planet has ever had my back like Titi. And I miss her so much. But back to the natural hair business, Titi's contribution to this, you know, when I see people like LaToya and her sisters, I see my sister because Titi sat at that kitchen table with me and mixed up product to be helpful. So when I go back to Mike, when I go back to why we went into business so we could be independent. We were raised by a father who thought it was real important that we be in a position of power, in a position of choice. Independent women. So with that, being raised by a man who came from the civil rights era and thought, you know what, you girls have to be able to make your own decisions. By the time it came time for us to go into business, we had that in mind. The money came later. That with the combination of wanting to be helpful to a gang of women who didn't even know what they had. Right now, I heard LaToya say, I have products, I have a comb for people with curly hair. Believe it or not, in the early 2000s, we didn't even know. And when I say we, I mean women of color. We didn't even know we had curly hair.
Right.
Somehow we thought maybe, some of us, not all, some of us thought that perhaps we had bad hair and not good. And for that, Titi Branch sat at our kitchen table in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, and mixed up curl magic to help women, to assist them to rock their hair in its natural state. So shout out to Titi, you know, and I'm representing
Shout out
her.
to the sister, yes.
Absolutely.
I'm representing her to the fullest, and every time I speak about her, every time I get in front of a mic, Titi's with me, so she still has my back to this day. So I consider myself extremely fortunate.
I love that. I love that. And you were talking about being independent and how important that is for you. And I know one of the things that you're looking to do while you're in Miami is to empower women entrepreneurs. Share a little bit with us about what your plans are to give back into the Miami community and to support women entrepreneurs.
So as I mentioned to you and Mike earlier, I came here on a personal tip. I came here to just try something different. But as an entrepreneur and as a female, as a woman who is still running my business, I couldn't come out here without my business. Part of my business, I make product, yes I do, but the other part of my business is touching other women like me, who look like me, who might have had the same experience I did or not, and talk to them and share my experience. And luckily, before my sister Titi passed away, we had the wonderful opportunity to write a book together. Yeah. And in this book, we share our journey. We talk about the sacrifices we made. We talk about putting our looks, trading on our looks. We talk about how that didn't really serve us. And, you know, our goal is to inspire other women. So far, you guys in Miami have kept me so busy. I'm getting ready to partner up with Dion. What's the organization with Tima?
She over here, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So many partnerships that we've already established, whether it's me giving product to help women with their hair or it's me simply sharing my story. I'm here, and you guys seem to be extremely interested in my story, so I tell it everywhere I go.
Okay. So what were some of the, if you just think about along this journey, what were some of the key marketing elements that you used to build the brand Miss Jessie's? And why you asked her, my second part is, I got to know, I'm sure most of the women here know, but I don't know. Why the name Miss Jessie's? Where did the name come from?
So I'm going to flip it. So
Okay.
Miss Jessie is our grandmother on our father's side. So it was Miss Jessie who was a role model to Titi and I. We didn't have traditional mentors. We didn't have people who stepped up to say, I'm going to teach you the way. So when we're in a situation like that, my sister and I had to tap into the images and the figures that we had in our life. We had to be resourceful. It wasn't hard for us to look close to us, and that was our grandmother, Miss Jessie Branch.
Okay.
Mike, she was the first CEO we'd ever seen. She ruled our kitchen table she ruled our family from her kitchen table. So when it came time for me and Titi to be our own bosses, we already had a role model. We already had an image. Although we didn't go to business school, we knew, you know what? When Miss Jessie asks you to do something, you do it. And she just had a wonderful command with people, and she was also good at what she did. She was an excellent cook. So by the time it came time for Titi and I to mix our product at our kitchen table, all we were doing was mimicking all the time that we spent with our grandmother as she made cake, as she made her own cornbread, as she made her own stuffing. We were simply mimicking all of that quality control that we learned with her.
Making it with love.
Amazing. I'm sorry, and real quick, shout out to my great-grandmother and my sister and my brother-in-law here, but shout out to my great-grandmother that just turned 99 years old this Saturday.
Wow.
So once again, I understand the power of influence. I understand what you're talking about.
You had
So
a second question, Mike.
yeah, so the second question was, what were some of the key marketing elements? Because first of all, you guys, I remember I wasn't using a product, but we study packaging. We run a marketing and graphic design company. And I just remember the packaging was so nice and clean. And I was like, yo, this is what a product should look like when it's worth the amount of money. Like, your brand just spoke volume. So what were some of the key marketing tools that you used to build that brand along the course?
So before you put any beautiful, clean, good-looking packaging on anything, it has to be good. Curly pudding has to work. There's so many people who want to bring product to market or launch a brand, and they're so focused on marketing, but all the gimmicks, all of that is secondary. You have to have something that works. You have to have a service that's going to deliver. So what we did was we focused on the product first. Then we came up with the name. We decided to call our product Miss Jessie's after our grandmother. Why Miss Jessie's? Because everything she made was so good. The product we made was so good. When it came time to name the product Curly Pudding, that was our first product to market. So special because it did what it said it was going to do. It turned kinks to curls without chemical, and at the time, nothing like it, Mike. So we named it Curly Pudding. Why? Because our grandmother used to make pudding at her kitchen table.
I was about to say, it's starting to make sense. Yeah, that's dope.
And this is way before there were any puddings, meringues, custards,
Exactly,
buttercreams.
exactly.
It was Miss Jessie that put that down in the marketplace. You're nobody if you don't have a food reference.
Right, change the lexicon.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what happened was that reference that we were making to our grandmother, we lent that to this market that was truly undeveloped. So in the developmental stage, we brought that authenticity to it, and we built from there. What we did have, Mike, was we had role models and references. Titi and I grew up in New York. We grew up in Queens, New York. So we saw Russell Simmons take an art form and create a multi-million-dollar business. We saw LL. We saw Salt and Pepper. We saw rap artists take art form and blow it up into big business. So the understanding that it can be done was in us. That fire was in our belly. So when it was our turn up, we knew that we could do it. So when it came to marketing, we didn't have the budgets for big marketing campaigns. So what we did was we took it to the street. The street at the time for us was the internet, thank God.
Right.
Because Titi and I were doing hair in our house. So we didn't have the luxury to put up a sign and say we're doing hair inside. So it was people who were going online who at the time heard about Miss Jessie's, and what we did was we put up before and after pictures and showed you what we can do. And those before and after pictures were monumental because it let women know what the possibilities were. And with that, we were able to build up our business. So.
Wow.
Love that. And especially because in the early 2000s, the internet was a completely different world. Back then you had chat rooms and message boards. You didn't really have, and forums. You didn't have Twitter, Instagram, or any of that. So, and the community back then was very different than it is now. You know, you had sort of pockets of people sort of sharing tips and different ideas.
You sure did. And what happened is during the time that Titi and I decided that we were going to specialize in curly, kinky, and wavy hair, a very small group of women were frustrated. And usually trends start with the youth. Trends start with the younger groups. What happened was women were so tired of their edges being pulled out. They were so tired of burning out their hair. They wanted to try something different. During that time, I realized I could no longer wear my hair in its straight state because I'm a single parent, a proud one, and I was giving my son baths.
Y'all heard that, so fellas, shoot your shot. She says she's single. Shoot your shot.
I was a single parent while we were trying to run this business, and it was bath time with my son, and I realized I just couldn't wear my hair in its straight state. So that started a conversation, and that conversation at the same time was happening when women were online in those chat rooms, and it was a small group of women. Titi and I did the unthinkable, and shout out to Titi again, because Titi told me this is what we need to do. We need to, as stylists and as a salon, share information with women because the stuff that we uncovered was too important. And I don't know if you guys know anything about the salon business, but the name of that game is don't tell nobody your secrets, so you want your customers coming back. But what we realize is we have curly hair. We have the most dynamic texture on this planet. It's versatile. It'll do whatever you want it to do. And we felt like if we shared that information with people like LaToya and her sister, each one would teach one. And then eventually now when you look in the media, you see more of us that look like us.
Right.
But
So-
the power of growth in the market is to share your knowledge, because when you win, somebody else wins, and when they win, it still reflects back on you.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing that's been missing in our community, that I think it's great that you're here, because that's kind of how me and LaToya hooked up. We were at an event, and it was pretty much, we were like, we're tired of seeing the results we're getting, so how do we fix it? And instead of just saying, oh, well, we'll talk to each other, we were like, let's start this company and let's make this happen. So I think that unity of sharing knowledge is a big, very important part. This is going to be my controversial question of the day. If we had to think, if you went back to the music era and we had East Coast versus West Coast, we got natural versus extensions. So you got companies like Maven, and shout out to my boyfriend Maven, you know, he's doing his direct distribution for hair extensions. How do you kind of embrace the not so natural products, the extensions, the chemicals and everything else, and uplift them while still pushing your message? Because it's kind of a fine line. Because to me, it's like, you got extensions, you don't believe in your own hair, I don't like it. I mean, it's just one of my things. I'm not a fan of extensions. I'm not a fan of weed. But how do you embrace while still uplifting at the same time?
So I don't happen to agree with your perception or
totally agree with
understanding
it.
of women. I find that women could dye their hair purple, they can perm it, they can put a weave in, they can put extensions in, and if that's going to enhance an accessory called hair, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So shout out to your friend Maven, who is out here doing business and offering solutions. And the other thing is, although I specialize in natural hair, I in no way look down on anyone who wants to wear their hair however they want. That's your prerogative. You know, and when it's beautiful and when you take time and care to do it, you know, I love it, and I admire it, and I respect it. Honestly, in the beauty business, Mike, there's room for all of us. Really and truly, there's room for all of us. So your friend setting up shop with weaves and extensions in no way, you know, hurts my business, because honestly, I have a product for that weave and for that extension. So as you said earlier before, we can all exist together, and there's partnerships. You know, I can tell someone how to maybe handle their weave with this particular product. So I think that it's great what he's doing, and I'm happy to see more of that.
And to sort of expand that too, when you think about women with natural hair, they often wear weaves and wigs for protective styling. So a lot of people sort of go back and forth.
They do, and protective styling is a wonderful way for a woman to transition. Honestly, transitioning can be hard on us for some of us who aren't ready to go fully natural. So I'm a fan of people doing things as an alternative choice to get more new growth. So by the time they have more of it, they're able to make that step. So I look at it all as something good.
Exactly. Yeah, so another quick question. Your book that you wrote with TT, share a little bit about how that started and what that journey was like. We had another author on a couple of weeks ago, and so we like to talk about that industry. Did you self-publish to start? Did you go straight into a major publishing deal?
So I'm an entrepreneur first, so my first instinct is to own my stuff. So before we got in front of a publisher, it was really important that as we put our story down, we actually hired the person that was going to organize our thoughts. If I put down on paper everything that happened, that book would be this long. So in industries that are already established, there's probably a standard way in which people do business. And in the book industry, we decided we wanted to present our story. So we partnered up with someone who edited our story. We got a proposal down.
Okay.
And from the proposal, we decided that we wanted some credibility. And at the time, we thought that if we partnered up with a well-known publisher, shout out to HarperCollins.
Nice.
That might mean a marketing budget. That might mean someone who understood the distribution channels that we didn't know. We knew the hair care business, but we didn't know the book business. So we thought, if that's not our core business, we want to get with someone who does. And that was our decision making when we decided to go to market with the book. We partnered up with the publisher. Would I do that again for my second book? That's debatable.
Okay.
Right?
So the second book is coming? Was that an exclusive release? Is the second book coming?
Second book is coming.
Okay.
Actually writing on it as we speak. And what I found...
Tech Beats and Bytes World exclusive release. The second book is coming from Miko Branch.
That's right.
Second book. All right.
What I
think
found
we got
is
a
that...
question for you, Miko, real quick. Go ahead.
Yep, and what I found is that when you write a first book about your journey, the journey, it's evolving.
Exactly.
You know, so people want to find out, do you still feel the same way you
What's
felt
happened?
5 years ago, or how are you feeling about this? What's new? What's next? So that's the beauty about writing your and sharing your journey.
Love that.
Hi, Miko. I have a question back here. The question from the audience is, what was it like when you made your first sale, and how has your shipment process changed from then till now?
My sister and I made our first sale in our brownstone, and before we made our first sale, we tested product with our customers and our clients at salon level. Our salon served as R&D for us. We were able to test in our salon. We didn't have to pay nobody to tell us how this product worked. So what we did was we gave it away. We sampled with our customers. So what we did was we created a demand. So with that demand, people were buying the product from our salon. And then from there, we offered it on PayPal.
Okay.
And we couldn't make the product fast enough. The orders were coming in faster than we could make it. And then eventually we realized that we had to partner up with someone who specialized in making product. Good thing we owned our own formulas. That's key.
Right.
We owned our own formulas, so by the
IP.
time we partnered with someone who could make our product, we were able to get the best price. So see, who was our first customer? It was in our salon, and we opened up distribution once we understood that the demand was there.
It's key to success is owning the formula, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's big. So what do you see as, I think we kind of touched this, but, you know, people asking, you're transitioning. What's next for you? I know you're talking about working with female entrepreneurs, but what's next? How do we help you in Miami with this next portion of your life?
So in Miami, the key role that you guys are going to play with me, I think first is personally. You guys, I'm looking to Miami to help to enrich me as Miko. I'm looking for Miami to support me to be a healthier Miko, to be a happier Miko. So when my son goes to school, because my son is 17, I'm able to be here and enjoy myself. If I have that peace, and I'm able to make good decisions. I already have a successful business, but I'm also looking for, which is probably more important than business, is health and is happiness. So if y'all could support me to be healthy and happy while I'm here in Miami, then I can do the rest. So if you want to talk about partnering up with me, you know, please keep presenting me the opportunities, and if I can help you, I certainly will. And the other thing is, if I can help you, I'm going to let you know that too, because your time is valuable to me as my time. I want it to be valuable to you.
So we're going to have a Miss Jessie's Timeline Brewery vegan barbecue at Self-Moore's house in the back.
I don't see it.
Right. Just a little downtime. A little
Just a little
downtime.
bit. Tickets will be $150 for free hairdos. No, I'm just like,
But on the business tip, y'all can let everyone know, you know, at least try Miss Jessie's. We have something for everyone.
yeah, absolutely. You got to stop by the table. Cosmology got the stuff set up. You know, I think you got something to give away. But I mean, ladies, if you have natural hair and you aren't using Miss Jessie's, your hair is just not as great as it should be.
Exactly. Right. Nice. I think Self-Born got a question.
Yeah, Self-More, you got
Well, I want to know specifically, because I'm from Chicago, so moving from up north down south does something to your life. How has being in Miami specifically benefit you geographically versus being in New York? Talk about the difference.
That's a great question. So first of all, before we talk about geography, I want to talk about the weather.
Right.
So the weather in New York is unlike anything you guys ever experienced down here. We have seasons, and in the wintertime, our winters can be brutal, not like Chicago.
Right.
Chicago, I never felt that kind of cold in Chicago.
We call it the Hulk.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's something different.
Yo, that
ironic-
-10 hitting you around that corner, like, nah, I'm just gonna go
Exactly.
home.
And that lake.
Yeah, I ain't going nowhere tonight.
Bust your chest open.
We'll just stay home.
But ironically, personal brought me here first, but business-wise, the humidity and the weather is really a compliment.
So you got to sell more product, right?
Yeah, there's
She
a
got
compliment.
you got to make
It's
a product just for
compliment.
this humidity.
It is a compliment to
okay.
my business. You know, so all things are falling into place. Culturally, it's a little bit different here than New York, but there's enough New Yorkers here that make me feel like I can do it.
Right at home.
You know, and sometimes I've heard people refer to Miami as the sixth borough.
Yep, because there's a nice relationship between New York and
Yes.
Miami.
So there's enough New Yorkers here, but honestly, I'm really enjoying.
We'll talk about that
yeah,
off the camera, how I really feel.
Yeah. Outside of like the New York piece, I'm actually really enjoying the Southern hospitality. I'm enjoying the different communities. I'm enjoying the West Indian community in New York. We are from Brooklyn. Well, lived in Brooklyn for many years, so we have a strong West Indian community. So it's kind of home, but it's different. There's a Cuban community, and I just like what y'all are doing. So I feel like I made the right decision by coming down here.
Well, dope. We got one more question for you before we hit you with the rapid fires.
Rapid fire is my favorite. So we have another question from the audience, and they want to know, just like when you're driving in the car and you hear your song on the radio for the first time, how did you know that you and your sister had made it? What did that feel like?
I think when Titi and I realized that we couldn't make product quick enough to supply the demand, we knew that we had it on that level. And that was way before Target, Walmart, and Walgreens. But I think it was that 3 o'clock in the morning that my sister Titi woke me up in our brownstone. I lived on the 4th floor. Titi lived on the 3rd floor because we owned that brownstone. And Titi woke me up after months of mixing at our kitchen table and not quite getting it. It was Titi who cracked that nut and showed me what we would all know to be as curly pudding. And when I saw that product and when I held it in my hand, I knew we had it. So that was way before anybody bought it. I knew when that product hit my hand and I smelt it and I felt it, I knew it was going to be on for Miss Jessie.
So that was your single, huh? That was your biggie moment.
That was my biggie moment.
All right. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and get right into it. Favorite artist, dead or alive? Who you rocking?
My favorite artist of all time is Donny Hathaway.
All right.
All right.
She
just
in the
got
right
points with me.
place.
Yeah, I know, right?
She just got points for me.
All right. Go ahead, Toya.
Will you retire?
Yes, I will. The reason why I will retire, LaToya, is because when I was in my 20s, I really didn't get a chance to party like all my friends. I really sacrificed in growing my business, but I feel like on the front end I sacrificed, but I think on the back end I'm able to maybe enjoy myself a little bit sooner than some of the people I know.
Yeah.
So if we had to name a drink, Miss Jessie's, what would that drink be?
I like almonds, so it would have some almond in it.
Interesting.
I like something sweet, so it would have to be something sweet in it.
So it sounds like almond milk and
Nah, you gotta put whiskey in there. Whiskey with the almond.
Whiskey and
Yeah,
almond?
I'm not really up on whiskey like that.
That almost sounds like a good dessert.
Yeah, it is. No, I'm telling you. I'm putting
But
that
yeah,
Yeah.
I like almond. I like
We're going to make something for
like
you.
sweet.
We're gonna
Yeah,
figure
if you
that out.
want to like do an amaretto,
Okay.
a Kahlua or something like that.
A little
or-
creamy.
Yeah, a little creamy. That might be nice.
All right. Go ahead, Toya.
That actually like threw me all the way off. So rapid fire. Let's see. Favorite movie of all time?
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Mahogany.
Ooh.
Hey, man.
Oh, wow.
We got
People
real
think
people on
about
this
that,
stage.
but that's a good one. That's a good
I
one.
was
love
a
that.
good
I
one.
love that movie.
All right. So 5 years from now, you pick up the Miami Herald, and it's the perfect headline in the Miami Herald. what does it say?
About me or just in general?
It could be whatever you want it to be.
Speak your heart.
It's the
Speak your
perfect
truth.
headline. What does it say?
I think now because we're in such uncertain times.
Go here, sister. Go all the way. Let it all out.
Yeah,
Right.
I think now, particularly because we're experiencing uncertain times, I would like to see a headline saying that we're happy, we're satisfied with our leadership here in this country, and I think that person should represent a little bit of all of us. And the only reason why I say that now is because I'm so concerned and I'm so scared. I have a son, many of us have kids, and we don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to start bombing us. I'm not really sure. So I think in 5 years, if everything was to be stayed put, if we were able to be safe and have good leadership, I think that would be very, very pleasing to me.
All right.
Where will Miss Jessie's be in 10 years?
As a business, as a successful business, I believe that it probably will be time for Miss Jessie's to sell.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I know.
Know when to exit, people.
Yeah,
know
I
when
think
to
an exit strategy is certainly something that any healthy business should consider, and hopefully for the right price and within the right hands. I think that it would be appropriate to maybe consider selling so I can get into my retirement proper.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she has some books on deck, so a lot of you will go home and Google her and realize who you had the opportunity to listen to and was in front of you. You'll realize it too late.
Right.
But more than anything, I would like to give a shout out and let's just give a round of applause to not just Miko, but to her sister TT
Absolutely.
for helping build
Yes.
this amazing company.
That's what's up.
so
I got one more. I
inspiration
got one
for
more
all of
question.
us.
I got one last question, official, because it's a product question, and I want you to explain to everybody.
Okay.
And we as people, we know the history of products, and maybe we don't know the history of products, but from a movie Hollywood standpoint, right? We could go. Let's take Malcolm X when he burning his hair, right?
Yes.
So we have a history of knowing bad things about products. So tell us about your product, why it's different than everything else we've seen in history and everything else that's out there.
Well, first of all, first and foremost, we're the first product of its kind, so it's the original.
Talk to him.
And
Better
the
say that again.
It's the original.
Original.
And the original meaning that without chemical,
Right.
unlike what happened with Malcolm X, he needed chemical in order to alter his hair, in order for him to like his hair at the time. The most dynamic thing about Miss Jessie's is we did what we said we were going to do, and we did it without chemicals. That's the first and foremost. The other thing was it was purple.
Okay.
It smelled good. It felt good. It turned your kinks to curls in a lovely way. And for any of the ladies who ever use Miss Jessie's curly pudding, Miss Jessie's not only is a product that's going to do what it says it's going to do, it's also a man magnet.
Okay.
When men,
That smell.
Here go the secrets.
When
Trade secret.
Get close.
when
Get
men
close, you'll
smell
smell
curly
it.
pudding, men really, they follow the scent. And then also, and also when I say it's good, I really mean it.
Let me hold a sample of that.
Right.
When I say it's good, I really mean it, because there's been so many Me Too brands that have mimicked Miss Jessie's, that have bit our name, that have bit our style. So that let us know that we
All
were
the way
doing
down to the
something
packaging.
good. Yes, sir.
Dope.
All right. Well, y'all have the opportunity. She'll be here for a little bit. She's only drinking cranberry and soda water right now. So all you fellas, here's your chance to get in for the low. But let's give a round of applause for Miko Branch.
Exactly. Thank you so much for being an inspiration
Thank
to
you.
all of
So
us.
just in
you.
case you don't remember, just in case you forgot, this is world famous House of Mac, Digital Grass, Tech Beats and Bytes. We're here every Monday. Thank you to the Knight Foundation for all their support. But we'll be back next week. And guys, thank you for coming out. We'll see you next week.
Next week.
Thank you, Mike.